I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners regular meeting for May 24th, 2017. Roll call, please.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
I'm going to ask our Township Manager, Aaron Bebro, to lead us in the pledge tonight, and I will tell you in a moment why tonight is a special evening for him.
Was unaware of that special evening. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Well, you're saying this, and now I'm hoping that I'm right, because then it's going to be a little foolish, but it's my understanding that it is his birthday today.
Oh, wow.
Aw, happy birthday.
23.
That's right, 23 again. And we want to not only wish you a happy birthday from all of us and all the residents who are here and all the residents who you interact with, but also take the opportunity to tell you, as we normally do, because you deserve it, you do an absolutely fantastic job.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't have a sense of how the township runs, we're the commissioners. He runs the township. We have the easy job. He has the difficult job of taking care every day, along with Chief and others, the 18,000 residents of Hatfield Township. So on behalf of all of them, very happy birthday.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can.
Tina, you start, we'll go.
Oh, jeez. Is this really happening?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Aaron. Happy birthday
to you.
Very nice. Very nice.
Let's hope that never happens again.
It will in about 365 days.
Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
We're going to post this link like right on the home page for the website. Thank you, Tina, for leading us there. All right. We're done for the night. That's good, folks. That's all we're here for. All right. Is there a motion for approval of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Thomas. All in favor of approving tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move forward with the agenda that is posted. First is some housekeeping items, the consent items that are listed in the agenda. Do I have a motion to move the consent items into the record? Motion by Vice President Hughes, second by Commissioner Andrus. The consent items are the Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes of April 26, the Board of Commissioners workshop meeting minutes of May 10, the Treasurer's report for the month of May, bills payable in the amount for paid bills for the month of May in the amount of $6,827.42, and unpaid bills for the month of May, $549,954.90. With that, I'll call a question. All in favor of moving those into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, those are moved into the record. And we are going to move on to citizens' comments on agenda items. Folks, any citizens' comments on agenda items? Seeing none, we are going to move on to our recognition of 2 exceptional service awards. I'm going to ask first that Charlie Seibel well, Charlie, why don't you and your entire family, if that's okay, want to join me over at the podium? That works. So we have Charlie up here because he is being recognized for having provided service to the HTMA, the Hatfield Township Municipal Authority, for 45 years. And so tonight we want to honor him for those years of service. Charlie, I can't imagine that in today's day and age we're going to come across people like you who are so dedicated to a township, to an organization, who are willing to give 45 years of their time. And that's what tonight is about. So on your behalf, what we've done is we've approved a proclamation that I'll read to you and to your wife. Whereas the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners desire to recognize Charles Seibel for his exemplary service to the community, and whereas Charles Seibel has served as a board member for the Hatfield Township Municipal Authority continuously since 1972, Whereas Charles Seibel was instrumental in upgrading the wastewater treatment plant in 1983 and 1994. Whereas Charles Seibel served as both chairman and treasurer of the authority throughout his tenure on the board. And I can tell you that being the chairman of an organization brings its own special skills and hurdles, so thank you for that. Whereas Charles Seibel helped introduce unique and technologically advanced concepts to the Hatfield Township Municipal Authority that are still being utilized today. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, in accordance with the foregoing, that the Board of Commissioners of Hatfield Township does hereby endorse this proclamation as recognition to Charles Seibel for his commitment and dedication to Hatfield Township, proclaimed and presented this 24th day of May 2017. Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners, congratulations and thank you for your many years of service.
I'll say very few words. I appeared before the board, as many of you may or may not know. I was involved in real estate for years. I appeared before the township board one evening, and Dot Cuthbert, or Peterman, whatever she was at that time, said, "Charlie, it's time you gave something back to this township. We have an opening on the municipal authority, and we'd like you to take it." I said, "Dot, I'd love to do it, but I'm not a resident." But that's no problem. You have a business here, the meeting's tomorrow night. And that was it. That's how it went for 45 years and 500 evenings my wife spends alone.
I should have done it. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, we have a second recognition tonight, and I'm going to ask that Charles Mercia's family, Charlie Mercia's family, come up because unfortunately Charlie passed away not long ago, and so he is not, unfortunately, not here to enjoy this recognition. He served our township for 47 years, and again, this is just an unbelievable amount of time. It's an unbelievable amount of service that's provided to people who, quite frankly, when you're volunteering for the HTMA, people don't even know you exist most times, is what I suspect. And I see part of the crowd who knows that to be true is smiling with me. Until I was a township commissioner, I didn't really even understand what the HTMA was. And when I first moved in the area, I didn't even know, I was clueless. It was just an acronym to me that made no sense. So when you find out how important it is, and we've said this before, the volunteers there, the people who work there, there are no days off for these folks. There is not a day that goes by where the volunteers and the people who work there aren't thinking about the responsibilities and duties that come along with those positions. So we really, again, unfortunately, your father can't be with us, but we want to thank you, not just him, but also you guys, because I know that I have kids, and I know that they miss me at times. I'd like to think that they miss me when I'm at meetings, but the times where he missed baseball games and events and dinner, he's not going to be there on a night when there's a lengthy meeting. And in his honor, what we did is draft another proclamation to whereas Charles Mercia was a longtime resident of Hatfield, Pennsylvania, and whereas the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners desire to recognize Charles Mercia for his exemplary service to the community, and whereas Charles Mercia was a founding member of the HTMA in 1960, And whereas Charles Mercia served on the board from 1960 to 1972 and from 1982 to 2017. Whereas Charles Mercia served as chairman of the authority for the majority of his time on the board. And whereas Charles Mercia's leadership and business skills led to countless savings and increased efficiency over the years. And now, therefore, it be it proclaimed, in accordance with the foregoing, that the Board of Commissioners of Hatfield Township does hereby endorse this proclamation as recognition to Charles Mercia for his commitment and dedication to Hatfield Township, proclaimed and presented this 24th day of May 2017. I want to thank you on behalf of all of us. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My dad just passed away a couple weeks ago, and I'd just like to thank Hatfield Township for this honor on behalf of him. He loved the HTMA. It was his life, so much so that the last couple of years he lived with me, and we couldn't sell his home because he had to keep that home so he could keep serving for the HTMA in Hatfield. It ran his life. And I had to pick up the mail that I think Mr. Dorning would drop at the front door so he could go over that, and I would go over that with him so he could go over the agenda in case he could get there. And even though as time came to the end, and I was like, you're not going to get to that meeting, Dad. It just, he had to go over, and he had to do that. I mean, Hatfield was his life. And thank you.
No, I'll pass on that one.
Okay, thank you to the entire both families. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for everything that you do. Pete, to you and your entire staff. You know, I know that we see you quarterly, and we can't tell you enough what a great job your entire organization does. Keep up the great work, and thanks again. All right, we have another special item, which is a Tree City presentation. That's okay, folks. Most people after the honoraries, they decide to leave. That's okay. You don't. We ask that you stay, but you don't have to.
Hello, I'm Heather Kerr, your service forester with DCNR Bureau of Forestry. I'm here to present the Tree City USA Award to Hatfield for 16 years of continued dedication to planting trees. Usually this award is presented on Arbor Day, and I go through a whole history of Arbor Day and everything, but Hatfield continues the important tradition of planting trees, building a stronger community, and observing Arbor Day. This year marks the 16th year that Hatfield has been named a Tree City USA. I applaud the time and commitment you have all made in this effort. Keep up the good work and stay focused on the idea that trees do make a difference. On behalf of the National Arbor Day Foundation and the Pennsylvania Bureau of Forestry, I would like to present this Tree City USA flag to Hatfield.
Maybe she'll.
We were just told that we received a hat in recognition as well, so we'll see if Aaron has an interest in wearing it as part of his birthday celebration.
Chief wants to wear. Celebration of your birthday. Or it still works.
Sounds like this is starting to get dangerous. We'll move on with the
Next
agenda.
item.
Yep, we'll move on with the agenda. All right, we have two action items tonight. First is Resolution 17-09. Is there a motion for approval with regard to the Ruth subdivision landscaping amendment? Motion by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Andrus. And do you have that?
Yes, thank you. 2 weeks ago, the board discussed the fact that the Ruth subdivision, which was approved about a year ago, requires an additional amendment to the resolution. An amendment's been prepared which reflects a reduction in replacement trees of 9 trees. They have made a contribution in lieu of to our shade tree fund, and we do have a signed resolution from Mr. Ruth. So the resolution at this point is in form for the board to approve. If there are any questions, either Brian or I can answer them.
Questions, further questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of Resolution 17-09, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. We have one more item, and that is there a motion for approval of the stormwater management permit requirements municipal partnerships?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Hughes.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rogers. Brian, Ken, or?
I'll do a quick summary, Mr. President, and we can have Brian fill in some of the dots if needed. We had a presentation 2 weeks ago at the workshop meeting regarding some of the requirements that DEP has for all municipalities regarding reducing sediment in stormwater. And we know that the requirements are quite cumbersome, and we know that there are some opportunities out there for the township to partner with other municipalities in order to reduce the obligation from the town. And the presentation 2 weeks ago outlined some of the advantages of these partnerships. One would be this one that's on the slide, to participate in a new modeling of the Skippack watershed, which I know there's a price tag of roughly $10,000 to participate, but the advantage would be the reduced amount of sediment that the township would be responsible for from removing from the stormwater. So yes, certainly an investment, but a lot to gain from that partnership. And then the other partnership would be to challenge some of the legal requirements of the permitting process with a separate partnership, which would be much less costly than this first proposal, most likely under $1,000, depending on how many municipalities join. This one as well could be reduced if more municipalities do join, but we think this is probably going to be the number for this partnership. So again, it's a requirement from DEP to how the stormwater is managed, reduce sediment that ultimately gets into the creeks, and the streams, and the drinking water. And the township is doing everything it must, but also would like to do it in a creative way and in a joint way with other towns to make it efficient and lessen the burden on the township ultimately to abide by these permits. So we'd like to have the board, if interested, to approve this partnership and these opportunities so we can move forward with both of those.
Actually, I have one question. I can't remember if there's a term for the number of years that we would be committing to, or is it just the one time?
Well, the Skippack Creek watershed modeling proposal, there's different phases for that. This $12,000, $10,000-ish first phase would be, we're asking if the township would commit to that first phase.
Just phase one.
For now. The option come to participate in the next phase be there as the process moves along. Right now, the first phase is basically committing to use the modeling for the watershed that was approved by DEP. Okay, and that mentioned 2 weeks ago, that pretty much cuts the township's requirement in half. So we felt that there's a significant financial savings to the township just by using a different model. And as a follow-up to our presentation from 2 weeks ago, we attended a meeting yesterday with DEP and the other municipalities that are currently participating. We represent many of them, so we were there kind of for them, but also on behalf of Hatfield. and DEP is very much on board. Purpose of the meeting was to see about other participants possibly, whether it's authorities or different businesses or whatever that would be willing or interested in joining in, as well as to discuss possible grant opportunities. So the nice part about the meeting was things are moving. So, you know, for me to present it to the board and say, you know, we think it's a good idea, I can tell you just from a meeting yesterday that, yeah, it's definitely moving. It's not just some, well, that might be good. This is, so that's a several phase thing, and as at the appropriate time, we will present what will be part of the next phase. The other opportunity is just a once and done. That's specifically a legal challenge, and requirements that are coming. As of right now, is a once and done.
I have a quick question, Brian. Do they have any projections for how much the other phases are going to cost?
I do not. I'm trying to think of the proposal that I had in hand, and I don't think there's any projections now, because a lot of it would specifically involve projects that would to be designed in order to implement the requirements. One of the reasons for joining the partnership is if just for argument's sake there's 5 municipalities participating, a project could be proposed where everyone would participate financially. The project might be built just in one place, that you would get credit towards your NPD permit for that project. So until the permits are submitted to DEP in September, what will happen is various ideas will be put on the permit application. Thinking of doing, the next phase would be, okay, we're going to start putting some nuts and bolts together in terms of how exactly we are going to implement these, and actually put designs together, put shovels in the ground, so on and so forth. So that, until the permit is approved, a permit application is approved by DEP, it wouldn't really be appropriate to get to that next phase yet. So the other part of it is because the designs aren't finished, we're not really sure how much all of that actually be. But there again, in terms, because it's a group, we feel that there's a strong likelihood that it would be significantly cheaper to the township than if we did it on our own.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion that was put on the floor with regard to stormwater management permit requirements, municipal partnerships, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved.
Thank you. And as a follow-up, I will, once we have the appropriate paperwork, we'll get it to Aaron.
Okay, that's great. We have something of an announcement with regard to that we'll probably put on the website as well, I would think, Aaron. The Hatfield Police Department on Wednesday, June 7th, is going to be a part of the Joint Anti-Violence Alliance. Correct, Chief? Am I saying this right? Wednesday, June 7th, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Abington Lansdale Hospital main lobby. Now, not only is this a good organization and a good event, but there's a special kind of kicker to this, which is you can stop by and have a cup of coffee with a Hatfield police officer, and at your request, we can make sure that it's this guy down there, Chief Tierney. Now, please, all of you, stop, slow down, don't rush up to him and sign up right away. We need to control the crowd here. But no, if you have time on June 7th between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., we couldn't think of a better guy to have coffee with than Chief. So
Good, but he's just not here tonight. I understand. I am not, but the coffee will be free.
I'm not going to kiss you.
I don't know. We could ask. Well, maybe we'll check into that.
So this is basically our iteration of coffee with a cop, is what it is.
Okay.
I want to change things up a bit.
That's great. It is a great event. We really want to thank you and your entire department for taking action in this area and making yourselves available on that day. And all joking aside, if you have the opportunity, it would be a great time to come join and the event and stop in and definitely see Chief or some of the other police officers. All right, that's all we have as far as action items. Before we get to citizens' comments, I was looking out in the crowd, and I do want to thank the rest of the HTMA board members that are here for everything that you do. I hope that you understand that when I was thanking the entire staff and the other board members, that included you. You do a great job. If you're here for Pete, or if you watch Pete Dorney's presentations on a quarterly basis, you know that we sing your praises. It is probably one of the most unsung volunteer positions in the entire township, and we can't thank you enough for doing that. So, and thank you for coming out tonight for honoring both of our folks. All right, citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments on non-agenda items?
Hi, Ryan Gober, 1228 Quincy Court. I guess it's a non-agenda item because I'm not in the Skippack Basin. I'm in the West Branch of the Neshaminy. I think the naturalized basin that they put in our neighborhood serves this purpose of capturing sediment, and I think, you know, maybe you'll get some more really great ideas out of this study. I'm excited about that. There's a couple things in the basin behind my house. They scooped out the waterway. Yeah, and to remove the cattails, I guess. I'm not sure why, but they inadvertently, I think, there were two large gravel dam kind of things that go across presumably to catch sediment and slow the water down, and those were removed when they scooped out the cattails. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. And the other thing is in the open space, I know you have to take some trees down occasionally because they're dangerous, but I would just encourage you to leave them there, because it's good for the environment to just leave them, let them decompose in the forest. You know, cut them out in some chunks, get them off the trail. Maybe you could leave them near the trail and people could sit on them if they want to, but that's just a good thing to do. And you don't have to pay someone to haul it out.
That's good too.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, any other citizens' comments? If not, before we leave, I need to announce that we plan to meet in executive session to discuss a personnel issue. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Hughes, second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thanks for coming out, everyone.